prancing horse and Ferrari means so much to so many people. But what's the best way of getting into your first Ferrari? Well, the Italian stallion thinks it's this, the California T. It replaces the California, which was launched in 2008, and the T followed in 2014. The T signifying turbo for its new 3.9 litre turbocharged petrol engine. Well, the California T benefits from so much more than just a new engine and a name change. There's a brand new look to it as well, with this much wider, more aggressive grille, these swept back headlamps, and even this vent that's discharging air from the wheel arches and then sends a nice sculptured detail down the side. But changes are more than just skin deep. There's a new steering setup, suspension, damping, all to go with that new engine and improve handling, ride and performance. Whilst around the back there's a new look as well, as the Ferrari badge sits loud and proud in the middle of the boot. This lip acts as a spoiler, integrated spoiler, whilst the rear diffuser has been redesigned to increase pull and suction onto the road. We're testing the Speciale edition, so you get the blacked out exhaust and the twin tone paint colour, black roof with the yellow finish. And it costs £155,244, or the price of a small bungalow. This, however, has got loads of kit on it and actually pushes that price up to £200,000. If you want to know what's on it and how much that costs, check out the website for the full review, and it'll also have more details on what's new on the car. But let's take a look inside. Now, there are two key things that the California T retains over the California it replaced. The first are the two small seats in the back. So it is a 2+ car. You can take two very small children, and they need to be small children to fit in. The second is the ability to transform this sleek, sexy coupe into a sexy spider at the touch of a button here on the dash. And the top lowers in just 14 seconds by pressing and holding this button in the middle. The dash has been redesigned. You've got the round air vents across, the 6.5-inch infotainment system, and the F1 inspired bridge for the center console. That's got auto, launch control and reverse. Whilst to start the car, you turn the key down in its traditional position and press and hold the engine start button. To turn it off, it's just turning the key again. To set off, you need to press and hold the brake and engage first gear, and that will then put the car into auto mode if that's what you're in last. However, if you're in manual mode last, it'll remember that and go back to it. However, in here's a really pleasant environment. You've got leather wrapped surfaces. It all feels high quality with some suede lining, and then the contrasting stitching and diamond quilting on the doors and seats. There's plenty of carbon fibre. Most of it is an optional extra, but it's a really classy finish for this type of car. The steering wheel is flat bottomed. This is the optional extra wheel, carbon fibre trim again, and the racing lights for gear change on the top, very Formula 1 inspired. The doors have got a narrow storage bin. There's this tray here, which is really useful. A storage bin under the central armrest with USB connector, and a little cup holder in there. It all works really well, whilst the decent sized glove box just finishes it off. In the back though, I'm 5'9", and my seat's leaving probably 1.5 inches of legroom for anyone wanting to go in the back. So it's really tiny little toddlers that you're going to get in there, or use it as storage, and those seats fold down for extra storage linking through to the boot. My seat has got so much electrical adjustment, it's untrue. I can adjust height, tilt and backrest. Then I've got all different types of controls for lumbar support, whilst I can pump up and deflate my seat bolsters to really pin me into position. With the roof up, the boot's got 340 litres of capacity, and with it down, it drops down to 240. But that's not bad, and you'll get 2 overnight cases in there, no problem at all. But I really think that's probably enough of the interior of the car, so let's get it on the road. So the new 3.9 litre V8 engine under the bonnet gets a twin scroll turbocharger. Now that develops 552 brake horsepower and 557 pound-feet of torque, all enough to get it from 0 to 62 miles an hour in a blink of an eye, 3.5 seconds. And it will push on to 124 miles an hour from stationary in just 11.2 seconds. Pretty sensational. The new engine's mounted 40mm lower than before to help lower the centre of gravity of the California T. It's also up to 15% more efficient, with CO2 emissions now down to 250 grams per kilometre. On an official combined cycle, it'll return 26.9 miles to the gallon. The Ferrari's got a variable boost management system, which means the torque and power isn't available in lower gears, only in top gears. The engine freely revs up to 7,000, but you don't need anywhere near it. You're never going to really get there because there's so much power to take you up and beyond national speed limits. The Speciale edition does have a louder exhaust, and that's just fine with me. It settles down into the background when you don't want it, but it's got that drama when it starts up, that grumble, and then when you want to floor it, it makes this noise. This has got a 7-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox, and if you leave it in auto mode, it's really impressive. It's proper Grand Tourer, just settles back into the background, changes gear with aplomb. It's so impressive and so smooth. However, you want a little bit more fun, then flick it into manual mode or press the auto button again to disengage automatic, and the engine's at your mercy. Downshifts are incredibly quick, and you can do multiple downshifts at just the pull of the lever. However, where auto mode does fall down a little is if you're suddenly wanting to overtake. You plant your foot, and it really does take a surprising amount of time for a couple of gears to be shifted so that you're ready to go. You've just got that delay. This is the optional steering wheel with the Formula 1 inspired gear shift lights on the top, so they light up the nearer you get to the red line and when you're about to change. But in all honesty, this thing again is so powerful that you very rarely see it get past like 2 or 3. So the steering wheel has all your major controls, including your indicators for either side, lights on, off and flash, and windscreen wipers. And it works absolutely brilliant in a straight line. Everything's so naturally positioned. The problem is, as you're turning, for example, round a roundabout, as your hands go round, you either get confused where the indicator is or your hands have crossed. Ferrari expect most buyers of the Cali to be new customers to the brand. So anyone expecting to turn up and buy a Formula 1 car for the road are going to be solely disappointed. But what you're not going to be disappointed about is how comfortable this is. It is surprisingly supple, and that's in comfort mode and sport mode. Sport mode itself still not really shaking your fillings out. Also in sport mode, there's an extra damping setting that will allow you to soften that suspension even more, which is particularly helpful on UK roads. Press the button and a little bumpy road sign comes up and everything gets a little bit smoother, whilst you're still benefiting from everything else in sport mode, so quicker gear changes, sharper handling and a better exhaust note. In comfort mode, you will notice body roll going into the corners. It's by no means bad, but it's certainly surprising and quickly lets you know that this is a Grand Tourer. The Manatino dial on the steering wheel allows you to change your driving settings just at the rotation of the dial, from comfort, sport to traction control being completely off, but I wouldn't necessarily advise that unless you're on a track. The thing I've been most hesitant in this car really is back-end slippage. It's got a 47 to 53% weight distribution from front to rear, and I've really expected the rear to chat more than it has. I've been well prepared to prevent it getting a swapper on, but it just hasn't done it. The traction control system is excellent and it's really kept things in place. There's only been the odd little squirm, and if you consider how much power is going through this, that's very impressive. Even taking it out in damp conditions yesterday, it didn't really put a foot wrong. Steering's also a little bit inconsistent. As you start to turn in, there's then suddenly a lot more angle available for very little effort. You suddenly sort of jerk the wheel a bit. However, put it into sport and it's much improved. The steerings are then really nicely weighted, very accurate and quick to respond, whilst the handling settles down and loses that initial body lean. It's still supple, but it's much better and the handling's much more entertaining for it. The sport setting actually allows a little bit more slippage, so you can have a little bit more fun without going to the extremes. The steering really impressed me on the motorway, just how smooth it is and how little input you need. It's like being in an F-15 fighter, just picking your way through the traffic. The Brembo carbon ceramic brakes perform nicely. They're not too grabby or snatchy, they're just very linear in their delivery. With the top down, and the window's up, there's very little buffeting. Yeah, I've got the wind diffuser up, but it's only the top of my hair that's buffeted, and you can sit in here and have a chat quite happily with your companion. Roof up, it's very quiet, it's nicely refined, and you can genuinely while away long distances in very good comfort. These seats are figure hugging and are very comfortable, and there's no point where you get out, stretch yourself thinking that was a bit of an ordeal. Visibility is really good because you've got these little fan-like windows behind. Over the shoulder is absolutely impeccable. Behind, with the roof up or down, visibility is pretty good at all. The only problem behind is in the wing mirrors. Those rear haunches are so high it does block some of your view. To the front, you've got no idea where the end of the car is. It's well in front of you, and it swoops down, so you're very conscious of not bumping into anything at all. Also, what you need to be aware of in this car is everyone is watching, genuinely. People see it coming, people hear it coming. This is in bright yellow, so they take notice. And when you are doing a 3-point turn, there is quite a lot of pressure not to mess it up. The infotainment system's all right. I've got USB here, so I've got Apple Play, and it's advised that you use the Apple Play maps because it's better than the Ferrari map giving you live traffic information, which the Ferrari map doesn't. What staggered me most about the Ferrari is you can get in and drive it and actually forget you're in a Ferrari. There's drama, but because it can settle down and do that Grand Tourer trick, it's actually quite unassuming inside. What's not unassuming is how many people are looking at you. The Ferrari's got such an aura to it and a real draw that people just want to take note, have a look, put their thumbs up. The kids want to hear the engine growl, adults want to see it perform, and there's the odd person that wants to entice you to match their car and see what their performance is like against the prancing horse. But it's a really nice attention. I've had no issues, no drama, no hate. It's just people going, that's a Ferrari, that's very cool. Well, the Cali T really is a fabulous Grand Tourer. There's lots of space in here, it's luxurious, there's space for 4, just and a big boot to take your weekend stuff. It's supremely fast and it's got a fantastic ride. It's not the be-all and end-all in handling, but it still holds its own and is entertaining. Check out the website for the full review, do subscribe to the channel for free, and thanks for watching.